right, guys, happy Wednesday. Good to see everyone that's on this morning or this afternoon, depending where you are in the country.
Thank you.
I know we got 100 or so people on the call today, which is awesome. If you could just keep yourselves on mute, I would really appreciate it. It'll make the call go a lot smoother. I'm going to be pinning a few people here that we're going to have as guest speakers on our call today, which we're really excited about. And thank you so much for joining us today. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. So my name's Ken. Obviously, I may not know all of you that have jumped on the call today, but I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years, running a business all over the country, actually. Started off in my early 20s and have since helped a few others, to say the least, run their own businesses. And a lot of people are on today that want to learn about being successful in 2025. I see my friend Jordan from South Florida, who's an entrepreneur on the call today. I see my buddy Jason, who also is an entrepreneur in North Carolina. Let's see. I see Coach out on the West Coast in Sacramento. Just kind of going through the things right. Oh, I see more Carolina folks. I love it. I see people on today from South America joining us on the call. So appreciate you guys joining us today. Again, if you could please keep yourself on mute. I'm just trying to find the one person that may not be on mute so it can go relatively smooth. All right, there we go. I think I got it now. All right, so happy, like I said, happy Wednesday. So Gareth, do you mind sharing a little bit of your background, a little bit of your story as far as entrepreneurship and business? And then we'll have Rendell talk, and obviously we'll get into our Q&A today. And happy Wednesday. Good to see you.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm excited to hear about Rendell. He has a good looking.
Who are these people?
Footpad. Pretty quick. All right, so yeah, my name's Gareth. I was born overseas. I came to America when I was 12. Still an active green card holder, which I pretty proud of. I went to Florida State. I got a computer science degree and a management information systems one right after that, just because being honest, I had a lot of fun at school and I didn't really want to go anywhere else at the time. I got a job at Microsoft, worked at Microsoft pretty quickly. I learned, I worked my ass off to get to that. I thought I made it, tell my family I worked for the biggest company on the planet at the time. It was a long time ago. And I learned real quick, I care very little about what I do, and I care a lot more about who I do it with. And so, I learned through trial and error that, working for myself was the play. And so I started in the business over 15 years ago. And started in Florida. I've pitched in 3 different countries. I've ran an office in 4 different states. I've been on 13 different programs. I've done res, retail, and B2B, and we've got 10 offices in the organization, and we're gonna make a run this year.
Love it, love it, love it. And Rashawn and Yesin, if you could just put yourself on mute, I appreciate it. Rollins, thanks so much, guys. Connor. All right, so over to you. Over to you, Rendell. Tell us a little bit about your background so everybody knows. I heard somebody say, who are these people? Yeah, good question. Who are these people? Why should I even be on this call today trying to learn about myself and learn about success? So go ahead, Rendell.
Yeah, of course, of course. Always good to hear from you as well, Gareth, by the way. But my name is Rendell Buchalter. So I'm born and raised here in Columbus, Ohio. A little bit of background. Come from a single parent home background. Before this, I got into the business. I was actually working in call centers. So I was working for a company called Molina Healthcare. I was also working for a company called Safe Flight Auto Glass, which I'm pretty sure if you guys know, you got a cracked windshield. That's usually who you're calling. And then, that's kind of where I know, right? That's kind of where I experienced kind of like, a little bit of corporate, no upper mobility or growth at all. And I just wanted more for myself. A couple fun facts about me as well, too. I have a family. I'm married. I have 4 children. If you wonder how old I am, I'm 29 years old, so I'm youngish. So 29 going on, 18. And I started in the business May of 2018, starting off on NRG retail campaign. I got promoted from entry level to director in about 10 and a half months. My first office that I opened was actually in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I was out there for about a year and a half doing Xfinity Comcast. Then I came back here in Columbus, working with NRG, and been doing it ever since. So, been in the business for 7 years, running the office for about 6 now. So, a little bit of quick
Love it.
story.
It's true. You look a lot like your dad
Oh, really?
in a lot of
Yeah.
areas.
And hey, Jasmine, you do look a lot like your dad. Please put yourself on mute, or we're going to ask you to leave the call. Thank you. All right. So Del, Gareth, obviously, I've been in the industry 20 years, right? So 20 years, I start off in sales in the Northeast in New Jersey. I moved through the business. Hold on one second here. I'm going to find who's not. Okay. I'm going to put this on. Sorry, guys. I know this is a little annoying. Okay. And it moved through the business, got promoted, ran my first business in Columbus, Ohio in 2003. And then since have been mentoring people to run offices and promoted a bunch of people to management, to become their own business owners. So we have a bit of experience between the three of us. We have another guest that Jolene that unfortunately was able to make it at the last minute. So we have someone, Stefania, that could be popping on in a few minutes, going to join us as well. But so listen, best advice starting into your career, into this industry. You guys both have some corporate America experience, right? And then getting into this, which is a little different. What's the best advice somebody gave you early in your career?
Go ahead, Del.
Sweet. It's kind of crazy that you even brought that up and we're on this call. So, Ken, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we were at a conference one year at a business networking, and you told me that self-talk is going to be my best friend. That's the best the conversation you have with yourself is the most important conversation you have of the day. And it's true because, where focus goes, energy flows. And, whatever emotions you have at the moment dictates your motion. So the best piece of advice, honestly, that I got early on in my career was the conversation I'm having with myself. You're right if you think you can, excuse me. And then you're also right if you think you can at all whatsoever. So I think that's a super, super big focal point because, sometimes you can have everything going against you. You cannot be having the best day at all, whatever it may be. But, we see the world the way we are, and not the world, not the way the world is. So it's super, super important to have the conversation you're having with yourself on a day-to-day basis on point, because if not, whatever's up there is pretty much what's going to end up, manifesting right in front of you. So for me, it's self-talk all day, every day.
It's where your head goes, your body follows, right? It's kind of like snowboarding. If you guys have ever been snowboarding, you're like looking here. If you turn your head, actually you start, don't hit the kids, don't hit the kids, don't hit the school. The little kids that are with the trainer at the teacher and everything else. Boom, you take them out. Gareth, what about you? Best advice you've ever gotten joining your industry or starting this industry?
Mine came from my dad. I don't know if any of you guys have a father figure that has a couple one-liners that stick with you forever. And one of my dad's is, only take advice from people who have what you want. So when I first started running an office and working for myself, I would notice that misery loves company. And then we had this thing in our office. It was like everybody who didn't do well would always kind of hang out together. They was like, misery loved company. And I think, I just tried to hack that right away. It's, take advice. If you're not doing well, find someone who's kicking your ass and steal their awesome. And, that's really served me well. And the second piece of advice is whenever anything ever shitty happens to you, you use it as fuel as opposed to a reason to fall apart. I think, what we do is really challenging, and it's not physically challenging at all. It's not mentally challenging either. It's emotionally challenging because we deal with people all day. So I think you got to make sure that when those challenges come, you find a gear, that will put you right back in the right headspace, because it's never what happens to you, it's how you react to it. So for me, number one is you just got to take advice. You listen to people if someone's crushing it the day before, I'm sitting down with them, grabbing some coffee, or I'm, grabbing a beer with them after work or something, because I want to figure out what they did and try and steal that awesome. And then if something really bad happens to me, I have this inner voice, kind of like what Rendell was saying, that just says, you think this is going to beat me? You think you're gonna win? I don't think so. So, those are my two nuggets that I think have really helped me along the way.
I love it. It's I remember sessions kept things really simple for me when I was 22 years old. I was starting off entry level, just like everybody else. And he said, you're an athlete, right? You're a competitor. Okay, cool. Well, either you win today or the field wins. How you win today? Well, you get out and hit your goals, hit your numbers, do what you got to do. How the field wins is when you lose your attitude. You let that customer, who you'll never see again,
Yeah,
most
you just
likely,
want a winning
get to you.
record. Yeah, you want a winning record
Yeah,
this week, right? I was telling
exactly.
the guys this. I had this customer. I was on Quill, which it's not a program we do anymore, but sell office products.
It's
But you were
it's
on
coming back.
Oh, that's
Did you
so.
know that?
I didn't, so I'm sure I'll get that
Yeah,
phone call.
yeah.
I was on it the longest, but I met this customer. They were a glass etching company, and I got them to make me a mirror that I could put and replace my bathroom mirror, and it just had a W and an L, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I just, I would take, you know, sometimes it was, the girlfriend's lipstick or whatever, and I would just circle. I just want to have more dubs than L's, and I feel like if you have those more often, success finds you a little bit, winning streak. That's what I'm shooting for.
Yeah. Anybody give you really awful advice when you started? And like bad advice?
Yeah, I can.
Any naysayers? Anyone we wanted to prove
Yeah,
wrong
I can
as
tell
you're starting your
you
career?
that I have. So we talked about my dad. Now I'll talk about my mom, because my dad would never let me bitch to him. My mom, on the other hand, was like sounding board, right? So my mother, only in the beginning, I never ever told her the positive stuff ever. Like if I was winning, I never had to talk to my mommy to make me feel better. Whenever things were going bad, I would complain, and so my mom was like. Over just piling so much of the negativity that I would cook, because I would use her to just vent, because my father would never let me. And so her vision of the business was never positive, because she never heard any of it. And so she would send me, like, this is a long time ago, like newspaper clippings or friends that had positions that were open or whatever, because she didn't want to see me in pain. It's not that she
You
didn't like the
dated
business,
yourself
she
there at the
just didn't know.
newspaper.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But she and then so I had to make a conscious switch just to make sure that I was always telling her the things that were going really well as well. And that paradigm changed very quickly. And so that's true with every conversation I have. I do the same thing with my social media now. Every Friday, I do it every Friday. It's on my calendar. It's just I unfollow people that just make me go from here to here with the way I'm thinking. I don't unfriend anybody, but I unfollow lots of people. I take a break, whatever it is, that if I'm feeling good and I'm not feeling as good because I read something, I just, you get unfollowed. And I do it for like 20 minutes every Friday while I'm eating lunch. I do it every single Friday, and that has really served me well, just to make sure I've got a bunch of good stuff in my head.
Love it. Love it. Del, anybody give you some really awful advice?
It's crazy part about it. Mine was kind of like along the same lines as Gareth. Early on, my mom was not a supporter at all. She used to tell me that I just need to go back to school and get my degree, was literally what she told me all the time. I mean, she honestly told me that until probably about 2 years ago. And it kind of came down to, like Gareth was saying, I wasn't sharing the wins. I was just sharing what I had to do on a day-to-day basis. And then honestly, back then, it was really more so primarily my friend group. I would try and break them down, break everything down, like what we do in the business or what we do on a day-to-day, be able to grow. And they used to say, "Oh, all right, well, we'll see, whatever it may be." And I used to tell them, like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And I know this is kind of like a naysayer question, but going back to a little bit what you were asking earlier, the best advice that I was given, somebody told me one time, they said, in life, scarcity breeds value. There is more money and more growth in things in life that people, more money and things in life that when people don't want to do certain things. So
Right.
you need to find something that when people won't walk that path, and typically it's business, it's entrepreneurship, it's leadership development. And once you figure it out, you'll win. You'll win big, very, very big. So kind of a two-part answer there. It was definitely for me, same thing as Gareth, my mom, my friends. But also I learned very early on, scarcity breeds value. So
Love it. Yeah, it's funny. My mom said I was crazy. She's
Yeah.
like, you have no car, you have no apartment. I lived in my grandmother's like retirement community apartment, right? You have no apartment, you have no salary. You're crazy, honey. You don't even have a coat. I'm from Florida. I was in Pennsylvania and going to school, started in New Jersey. But and I remember, Gareth, you've been around. You met my parents at some R&Rs back in the day, I think. I
I
remember,
did,
yeah,
both of them.
and yeah, and I was telling this story recently to somebody in my office. I grew up in a family where my dad was an engineer, my mom was an architect, and so we didn't really go on vacations a lot. They were called soccer tournaments, right? Those were our vacations. And so when I got into the business and we did the R&R every year, like this year it's Mexico, I think, and I know this past year was Mexico, and like every year we've been to the Bahamas, to Cancun, to I mean, think about all the places you see on TV, like the Atlantis Resort, all this stuff. We've been to all of them. And I used to take my parents to every single one of them in the first 10 years or so of the business, because that was a big driver for me, is to give back and give them a chance to enjoy life as opposed to
Well,
work all the
my
time.
mom, remember I was saying this naysayer, she asks me every year, so where are we going for R&R this year?
Oh, your parents are so cute when we saw them at the last conference, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
so
great.
cute. Seeing you get promoting owner of the year and all that. That was awesome. All right. So let me transition a little bit. So someone starts in your business today, right? Knowing that what you guys know now, you went through the training program, so you started entry level. Rendell, just number wise, what did your business do the last calendar year?
Just a hair shy of 1.3 million. So
Woo!
Okay, 1.3 million. I know you just paid for your wedding in cash. Pretty awesome. I don't know a lot of people do that except for people in our industry. But you see someone that starts in your business that you're super excited about. What are they doing? What's their activity? What are their actions? Like what
great,
you like, man, this is like a
great,
5-star athlete starting my company. What would you say?
great question. I love it. So I think the first thing comes up with how they prioritize in their perception of time. So for me, when I, was in my leader's office before, I used to either try and beat her to the office or beat her the same exact time that she got there. Because one thing about time, and interesting enough that we kind of seem to devalue a lot, time is the most valuable non-renewable resource that we have. And if you give yourself more time in a day, that gives you more time to be able to do things. So that's the first thing, is just how well they're prioritizing their time in terms of AKA start of their day. Two, habits, right? Habits is super, super important. I think sometimes that we tend to forget, we see the materialistic things that come with success, like the cars, the suits, the watches, and everything, where we don't really understand that at the end of the day, it's really habits. It's a level of frequency that successful people are pretty much operating on. And what that comes down to is just day-to-day decision making. So for instance, is somebody choosing the easy way out, right? So if they're in the field, going out there working their territory, are they leaving when it's time to clock out, or are they actually leaving when a job is done, right? So how are they really, really utilizing their time and mixing effort with it as well too? And then I think you said attitude, right? So attitude is everything to me. So a lot of people call it the law of manifestation, right? Or whatever it may be. And it really is a thing, but someone who's in a great mood all day, every day, you got to understand that life, life is an ocean of motion. Whatever energy you put out is what energy you're naturally going to get back. So I'm looking for somebody who always has a solution for every problem, not a problem for every solution, if that makes any sense. So
Love it.
to kind of think about it, those are kind of like my three things of what I'm looking for: how well they utilize time. Two,
Yep.
what are the day-to-day habits? Because again, we attract who we are and not what we want. And thirdly, just attitude, of course, the energy you're putting out.
Love it. Love it. And I had Stephania join us. I know she runs an office on the West Coast. I was like, hey, by the way, we had one of our panelists drop today. Do you mind joining and hanging out and sharing some wisdom? She's like, yeah, of course. Be at the office in a few minutes. So thanks for joining us, Steph. Appreciate that. So Gareth and Steph, I'll ask you the next question. Gareth, any thoughts around that top performer? Somebody starts your business that could be the next rising star. What does that look like?
Yeah, I don't know if my answer is going to resonate too. Like I didn't get in the business for money. I worked at a huge company in the beginning. I got in the business because I want to work with people that make me not hit my alarm clock when I get up in the morning. And the only way that I could accomplish that was to work with my people as opposed to somebody else's people. My personal experience. I've never left a job in my life because of the job. I've always left because the people suck. So I look for friends. I look for people that I want to hang out with, that I wouldn't mind having to the house and being around my kids. I'm a poor loser. I like people who are bad losers, because you show me a good loser, I'll show you a loser. But realistically, I look for the same characteristics I look for in friendship, accountability, reliability, and effort, right? If you have those three things, one, you can be my friend, but also I can be really honest with you. Like if your closest friends doing something stupid, you're not going to be nice to them. You're going to throw up a bunch of four-letter words and you're going to be pretty upset because you give a shit, right? So I look for people that I truly want to give a shit about and vice versa. So I want to build a business with a bunch of people that I really enjoy being around because I want to work with people that I want to spend. It's kind of like I'm at work more than I'm anywhere, right? I'm more than I'm at home. So I want to be around people that I would, and so I work really hard to find those people. So it's kind of like everybody that works here, like there's 24 people, I think, and all of them are like little pieces of my personality. It's like I got my gym junkies, I've got my nerds, I got my I've got my sports fanatics, I've got all the different Pete's, got a couple hunting guys in there. I've got my, I like shoes, I got some girls that are insane about some kicks, I just want my people, and I think that's what everybody should work really hard to accomplish. And I think and one of the cool things is you make a bonkers amount of money when you work with people that you could shovel dog shit and make $1 million with. You just got to work with the right humans. So I want to find my people. Now, my people are weird. It even says it on my website. It's like, what are we looking for? First things is weird because normal people, they're boring. So I like people who got a little bit of little quirks. Those are my people.
Love it. Stephanie, I know we obviously appreciate you joining us today. We're just talking about success, entrepreneurship, some wisdom. You've been running your business for a few years now out on the West Coast, out in LA. Have you ever doubted yourself? And if so, how did you bounce back from that?
I think, especially, I don't know if it's just like being a woman too, like you're in the world, like entrepreneurship is full of men, right? So I think it comes really easy to just kind of like doubt yourself because you're like, fuck, but my motto, honestly, is just fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. Right? So if things are not going your way, hey, I'm going to pretend like I've done this a million times. Like when I had never done sales before, like ever. I didn't think from day one, I doubted myself. I was like, let's just see how this goes. I don't think I'm going to be very good at it. But then when I would be like in front of, because we started on B2B, when I was in front of a business owner, I'd be like, I'm going to pretend like I've done a million presentations. I work with a ton of customers like that. Oh, don't worry, I got you. Right. So just fake it till you make it. Then I started kind of like leveling up within the business. So I went from like just regular, I had some like business casual wear. So then my first like investment was like into like my wardrobe. So I literally just bought 2 suits. So then I was like, okay, I'm like, if I want to be the boss one day, I have to start looking like it. So fake it till you make it. Right. So I started updating my my attire. And now everyone's all like, stuff, you always have like the best suits, whatever. I'm just like, well, let's start it from like beginning. And then before you know it, you start to kind of like grow into that part. Right. So I was just constantly fake it till you make it. So when you're doubting yourself, do it anyways. Fake it till you make it, pretend like you've already been there, you've already done that, and it just kind of works out.
I love it. Yeah, it's I think the key to know is like everyone has doubt. Everyone. I don't care if you're, I don't know, some of these people that are in the Super Bowl or someone who is standing up in front of the crowd and singing, to millions of fans. My wife's a big Taylor Swift fan. So it's like, they all have doubt. They all have doubt, right? But they do it anyways. They do it anyways. That's the key, is they do it anyways. And by the way, speaking of suits, don't you have custom suits now? Don't you have a few of those? Is that you?
No, not
I.
I like the just regular suits that I find online. So no need yet.
I was gonna say, Okay, I was like, wait, you have some really nice. I thought you got some custom recently. All right, all right. This is an interesting one. This is a little kind of a change of gears. So, in your careers, running your own businesses, developing people, have you ever had somebody leave your team, and and you're happy for them, and the unselfish attitude is helping people along, moving on to the next opportunity, the next journey, and then maybe months or years later, you look back and you're like, oh my God, that was my fault. That was my fault. I need to get better as a leader. I need to get better as a coach or as a business person. And if so, what did that look like?
I'll go first.
Steph, take this. Go first. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's funny because this actually happened like pretty early on. So I was like, from the get-go, they said non-seniority. I said, all right, bet. I'm like, watch me. So the first 6 weeks, I was only 6 weeks in, and I had a team of 6 first-gen like individuals on my team. And I was like, all right, 4 more, let's go. Right? No leaders, nothing. 2 weeks later, I had 1. So right immediately, I was like, oh, okay. 1, don't count people because it's not about counting people. And 2, I was all like, yeah, my skill set's not where I didn't even think it was at a certain level, but I just thought, I'm like, hey, cool, I have 6 people. Like something must be like going well. But really early on, I realized, hey, not everyone is going to be you. So you can't expect people to perform at your level and also to have the habits that you have. Like if you're like, my mindset is like, late is unacceptable. So like being early is on time, being on time is late, and being late is unacceptable. All right. That was not the case for some of the people on my team. So I was like, oh crap. I'm like, are people like not working a full day? I'm like, wait, that was an option? What? Like, not everyone's going to be you. So that was like, okay. So then I just have to treat people as if how I talk to myself. And so I just started getting like becoming harder on people and just actually helping them level up. And then before you know it, people were turning into leaders based on my efforts.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting because I think great people yearn discipline, right? So people who respect, learning and they really want growth, they're going to have challenges, they're going to have pain, and they're going to have a mentality of, okay, I didn't win here, but I'm going to win long term. What do I need to learn to get to that long term win? Gareth, Rendell, any thoughts around this one? I got a couple more really kind of different questions, so want to get to those too. If any other thoughts, go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the interesting things for me, because I feel like I got in business pretty fairly early at a young age. When I was 22 years old, I was running my first company, right? And I was learning a lot, number one, about myself, but also how to develop other people as well too. And I know the question was like, what did you learn from that? So I think the number, I have 3, but I'm gonna give you 1. But I think the number one most important thing for me is that I had to start seeing people for where they were at and not where I thought they were at. So sometimes we end up having people, I have people come to my office, I'll see them and all I see is potential. And I hold this image of potential in my mind and have these expectations, and expectations are either meant to be met or meant to be disappointed, but they're more often disappointed than not. And I had to realize that, through my journey when I first came in, I didn't always have suits. I wasn't always business professional. I didn't know how to hold conversations or whatever it may be. So what I had to do is figure out what that individual needed in that moment, or what I like to call them pain points in their life. And it could be simply somebody is coming into my business where they're just trying to get caught up with bills. They're just trying to provide a little extra money for their family, whatever it may be. And I met them where they were at in that moment, and I helped them with that. And when I do that, typically what happens, it built the confidence back up, and then we can kind of move on from, to the next thing, whatever that next pain point is or whatever they want to focus on most. So I think the most important thing that I learned, if I had to go back and do it all over again, and one thing I try and keep in mind, at the forefront of my mind, is that see people where they're at and not where I think that they are, because I'll coach potential, not actually what's right in front of me right there in a moment. So
love it.
I'll be quick on
Gareth.
mine. Mine's I believe that it's always my fault. Not that I physically did something wrong, but if I look at what could I improve every time something like that happens, you know, I look at it an area, there's somewhere in there that had something to do with me. And I definitely want to take the ownership of it. And that has really served me really, really well over time. Blaming other people or blaming circumstances or whatever it is has never served me well. You know, excuses or victory speeches for losers. So I like to take the ownership of it, mainly because I can handle it. I like that.
Little fire. I should have the little fire thing go up.
Yeah,
Excuses are
it just-
victory speeches for losers.
Yeah, excuses or victory speeches for
Like,
losers.
whoa.
Gareth Roberts. that's a quote I believe in, and so I just and most of those excuses they just I gotta own them. You know, I gotta own them, and I have certainly let some people down. I haven't trained people properly. I haven't given people the best of the best in the moment, and if I own that, it's just one step closer to getting better at it every day.
I love it. Yeah, it's like you know, when you take ownership of a situation, even when it is maybe not even something you should, you just look at it differently. You approach it differently, right? And you try to make an impact on things. I remember one time I was in a coaching conversation with one of my mentors, and he said to me, I was trying to get through to someone in my team, and they're like, "Hey, listen, hold on a second. Are you more frustrated that you can't get through to them, or that you're not able to communicate with them in a way that they want to listen to you?"
Yeah.
I was like, ouch. I'm gonna take the dagger out of my heart. Like, what? He's like, yeah, if they're not listening to you, there's a reason why they don't want to listen to you. Maybe you got to change your approach. Maybe you have to think about how you're communicating with them. It's not all up to them. It's really your approach to them.
Yeah, somebody
So-
else's words might ring differently with somebody else. So people are successful around different coaches. So take ownership of it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Love it. All right, top performers. Tell me about average, above, below. What's the difference there between below, average, and above top performers? Clearly, we got 140 some people on the call today. Most people, this is their off day. They're just learning. They're investing time in themselves. I love this stuff. I love to see the, you know, people that care so much about themselves. They do these things. So how can we help them level up? Like this week, what's maybe one or two things they can do to get better at their role?
I'll go quick. The success you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Nice.
Hi, Tara.
I love it. Rendell.
My quick one is that it's the difference between knowing and doing. You know what to do, but it just comes down to, are you doing it? And then I always tell people all the time, you either gonna pay now or pay later. And you probably heard this before, but the difference between the two is if you pay later, it's gonna be interest added on top of it. So you might as well just pay now. Just do what you need to do. Difference between knowing and doing. So
Love it. Steph, top performers, average, below.
Job's not done until you get it done.
So no matter what it takes.
I got another. So we have a sign that we just got made for when you leave, and it says "Work until you're proud." I think that I saw it and I was like, I'm ordering that. I don't care how much that costs. That's awesome. Work until you're proud. That one means a lot to me.
Speaking of proud, and I'll tell you, yeah, Gareth, you by knowing you for many, many years now, it means something to you, right? And what you do. And even your company name is based on your father and you know, like heritage type stuff, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, what's a proud moment, right? You know, we all have these challenges. We all have these things that we work hard towards for. It's not always financial. What's a proud moment because you chose the risky route?
Like if you want to go, I mean, money is not my biggest problem. That's probably a good one. I've done some really cool stuff. I've got to travel around the world. You know, I like that I'm the uncle for my nieces and nephews with the good presents at Christmas, you know. I like that, like, you know, moved to Florida and was able to rebuild my office pretty quickly. I'm leaving tomorrow to, you know, take my wife for a few days down to the Caribbean. That's pretty cool. you know, paid cash for my wedding as well. So it's pretty cool, Rendell, you were able to do that as well. I took my wife on a trip around the world. I drive a bunch of fancy cars. I like that if my wife wants something, I don't have to say we can't afford it. That's pretty cool. You know, I was able to really help people in the family when they needed it. But I think the best one is my most favorite thing is I like that I'm a great example to my children. You know, I like the fact that I wake them up sweaty from being in the gym. I like them that, you know, this business, money is whatever. I get to work with people I love being around. But the biggest thing is the fact that I believe this business has taught me how to be an unbelievable example for the next generation of my lineage. And that means the most to me.
So funny you say that. When Mason, I took Brady to the bus stop this morning. Mommy's in LA for business, and he walks out of his room, and I'm walking towards the ice bath this morning, and he's like, "Daddy, I didn't expect to see you going to the ice bath," but he knows Daddy does crazy stuff for his mental health. That I prioritize my mental health. I prioritize my health in general. And
Yeah,
so
I
as
mean,
they get older and older,
even Rendell was like, I wasn't always dressed business professional. I haven't known Rendell that long, and I've never known him not to be like dripped out. Like the guy's always looks like $1 million. And you know, I like seeing people from year to year, and they just level up as humans, and being a great example to the generation, especially these days. What we need in this country is leadership and great examples, not complaining and bitching and moaning. It's, you know, go get after it, be the great. Somebody asked me recently, it was like, what can I do to help my team level up? And I'm like, level up yourself, be the example of the person that you want the people around you to be, and it'll happen. And the right people will follow suit. You know, you will be the Pied Piper to the right humans. And the wrong people, you know, we call it good turnover. You know, you have good turnover, people who it's not that they don't want to. There's this, what's the director, Perry. Anyways, he has this speech where he's like, you know, you're going up in a rocket ship, and you know, some people in your life, you know, they're the rockets on the side of the shuttle, and they're not designed to go to the altitude that you are, and so they have to cut off, and then you're going to continue sometimes by yourself, and sometimes you're going to find some stars along the way. They're going to join you at that altitude, and you know, those are the people who they get it. You know, they just get being uncommon is important.
Love that.
Dell, proud moment.
You know, number one, Gareth, I try and keep it together. So thank you. I appreciate it. And then two, I love that. I love that last messaging, but honestly, he really took the words right out of my mouth. You know, I'm not sure. Am I able to share my screen, or am I not able to, Ken?
Yeah, I can go ahead. I'll make you hold on,
Let's see here. So if you ask me what's my proudest moment, it's this here for me. So this is my family. Don't pay attention to the guy on the far right. He kind of, I don't know, it's one of my sons. So, you know, just kind of a very short story. So, you know, me and my wife have been together for a total of 9 years now. So we have 4 kids together, and 3 of them are stepchildren. A little bit of background about me. You know, I was raised in a single parent household, as I told you guys. So I grew up without a father. So one of my biggest missions was that I wanted to make sure I didn't repeat the cycle of what I went through. And I wanted to make sure my family never felt the void that I felt. I'll stop sharing here. The void that I felt.
And hey, real quick, Dell, I know Garrett's got to jump. Garrett, thanks for joining us today. Have an awesome day. We're wrapping up anyways, but go ahead, Dell.
So for me, it's just, you know, I take pride in being a family man and being able to provide. I think control for me is super, super important. Like Garrett said, you know, money is not a super important thing, but, you know, just kind of a couple things I'm proud of. You know, I don't have to pretty much tell my wife no at all. If the kids want something, they get it. My wife, she hasn't worked in 7 years, but she's going back for real estate this year. She was a single mom before, and I wanted to provide her that time back. So, you know, to be able to find herself and, you know, get to know herself more. So like when I think of proud moments, it's just number one, being an example for my family. And then also too, just having control. It's all about control. When you have control, life is just so much more easier. Like, I wake up now, it's like, and I get to choose what I would like to do instead of like, I got to do this,
Yeah.
or I get to do this, get to do that. So that's my proud moment for me.
You're not asking for the day off. You just take it.
Yeah, it's fun. I love my guys and just being an example for my family.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Love it. Love that. Steph, proud moment. We're going to wrap things up, I think.
Okay, so many moments to be proud of. I'll start with the first one. So we all know why, like, that we have high roller speeches. So whenever I give my high roller speech, it was always the exact same extraordinary goal. It was always, I wanted to buy a Tesla Model X. And it's literally just me from the field, like from the beginning. Tesla Model X, I wanted to retire my parents. Literally, that was always the two things that I would always call out. About 2 years into ownership. Oh, and I wanted to buy a house by 26. I wanted to buy a house by 26. I had those 3 extraordinary goals. By 2020, so end of 2020, I was able to buy my Tesla Model X. I got my like dream home in like my dream neighborhood. It was, what was it? 3 months after I turned 27. That was 26, and then I turned 27, so I was still like kind of along those like lines. And then I got to my house. It's a 4-bedroom, so it was me, my husband, and the newborn at that time. I moved my parents in with me, and their house already paid off, so now they rent out their house. They don't have to work because now they get that passive income. So in a sense, I kind of got to retire my parents as well along the way. So that was like the first kind of like proud moment. The next proud moment is you never really know what you doing a little place. You never really know how just you working hard and working your butt off will affect and impact those around you. Okay, because I was doing it more so because my mindset. So I got the luxury of having my mom be a stay-at-home mom, and then my dad was like the working parent. So I didn't have to necessarily be in like daycare or childcare very often. I got to be raised by my mom, but I also saw my dad's work ethic, and he worked his butt off. And he, this is a guy that was an immigrant, and just all he knew was, hey, I have to work and I have to provide for my family. So I got to see his like killer work ethic. So I got to see those two, and I was like, man, I wish I could just do both, where I can like work my butt off and be like the provider. Because I want to live the good life, and I don't want to have to depend on a man, it's different. I don't need you in my life. I want you in my life. So it's different kind of mindset of having a husband for a woman, so I wanted to be the breadwinner, but I also I knew I wanted a family. I knew I wanted to raise my own kids, and I didn't want to put them in daycare from 9 to 5. Like, that kills me to have to do that. So it was really cool again to have that experience, because once I got to management, when I was looking for my HR, my husband's degree is in communication. So I just said, hey, I'm looking for an HR. You want to be an HR. You just want to work with me. And now we get to take time off together. He doesn't have to ask, in a sense, his boss for time off. He goes golfing in the middle of the day as he's like recruiting. So he's living his best life. We get to work together, and we get to go to like R&Rs together. So that's like amazing. And so we like alternate. So with my parents living with me, I get free childcare Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then my husband works from home Monday, Friday. So kids are never in daycare, and they're literally at
Love
home.
it.
They're asleep. We go to work. They just have to stay in their bed comfortably, and whenever they choose to wake up. So that's like very, very proud moment for me.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. So listen, I'm gonna leave you guys with this. I'm gonna give you guys 5 quick points on leadership, and then we'll let you go. Cool. But first of all, again, I'm super proud of all of you guys. I know some of you guys are in the stores or in the field. You're just trying to jump on and learn and level yourselves up. But I'm gonna share with you guys 5 things that I look for when I look for partners. So I happen to mentor Rendell and Estefania and a bunch of these guys after I've kind of had my 20 years of experience. But what I look for in people that are great in business, number 1 is the ability to execute. The ability to execute. There's gonna be clients that ask us to do things, sell certain products, be on different campaigns. They ask for certain numbers, certain mixes. You got to have the ability to learn to execute what a client wants. Because the reality is in business, if you don't, they're going to get someone else to do what they need. So that's number one. Number two, I look for people that have a genuine passion for people, a genuine passion for people, people that really care about making a difference. And it's not just because it's the job or I'm training you to sell a product or whatever, or I'm mentoring you to do this role in the company. No, it's because you care about people. It makes a difference. It's like that ripple effect in life. You treat someone kind and they're going to treat someone else kind. You hold the door walking out of the gym, they're going to feel better. They're going to hold the door for the next person. So it's just kind of who they are. So number two is a genuine passion for people. Number three, I'm looking for people that respond well to failure, respond well to get their teeth kicked in. Things happen. I wish I could tell you all the things you're going to go through to succeed in life. You are going to have to go through things yourself, things that don't feel good, things that are uncomfortable, things that cause pain, whatever. I get excited about that because I'm not looking for people, and there sure isn't a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are soft. They have this thick candy shell. They are strong inside. They can take a punch. That's number three. Number four, they're passionate learners, that they're on calls like this whenever they pop up. They're reading books. They're on podcasts. They bring content. They bring things, again, to meetings. Hey, I noticed you run a leaders meeting. Can I share with you a quote? Can I make a difference in the meeting? Hey, I'm a top performer last week, Mr. or Mrs. Manager. Can I run a 5-minute leaders meeting on something I'm reading right now? People that are passionate learners, you can just feel it when they are. And then the number five is they have a good risk versus rewards understanding. So give an example. If someone goes to team night and they're in the part of their life where they're not able to handle their alcohol. I've been young, I get it. That's not a good risk versus reward. The risk is if you're in leadership and you're really responsible for people, people are going to doubt your ability and doubt who you are and think you're a joke if you don't know how to be a certain way at a work function, right? The reward isn't high. So understanding there's certain risks and rewards being in leadership and especially being in management, and knowing that there's, you got to know the balance there. So again, ability to execute, genuine passion for people. Number three, can take a punch. Number four, passionate learner. And number five, understanding the balance of risks and rewards. So happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us today. I am going to upload this. If you haven't got a chance to join my YouTube channel, Klear, Klear channel on YouTube, you'll see my face. Please subscribe. We have over 600 videos from entrepreneurs, successful people across the world. I got NFL referees. I got professional athletes. I have entrepreneurs. I have some people that have written multiple books. There's a ton of people on the channel, but we put a lot of content up there for our industry specific. I know you're out there learning. I'd encourage you to try to find what we're putting out there to help you level up. But happy Wednesday. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's have a great week.
Thank
a great
you.
month. See you guys.